Yeah. Are we likely to ever see the 2000 AD system again with an original property, or perhaps with some sort of historic setting for it?
I don't know the answer to that, Rick. Can you any wisdom on that?
No, I seem to remember because that was something which Andy Chambers and me kind of got together specifically for that license, so we could do variations off the game system for that license. So I don't think we've got any plans to do anything else with it specifically. Could you use it for something else? And again, it's a small-scale skirmish system, isn't it? So I suppose it's in our back pocket.
Yeah, it's
revisit
back pocket,
it.
yeah, system. Anybody else? We're doing well.
With the last few ball action star sets, we've seen more of a symmetrical matchup. Is that going to be more part we go forwards, or are we going to go back to asymmetry like we had in Tower Approach?
It's all of these questions are very good. When you work for a gaming company, the problem is everybody's a bleeding expert, and because they are, you know, obviously we're a bleeding expert. The problem is in a model soldier company, everybody does want to get their view in, and it can be infuriating as a management team because you say, well, yeah, that's, you know, and you're trying to get a consensus, which is tricksy. I personally don't mind what's in it. It doesn't have to be beautifully balanced. Me, I find it quite entertaining that somebody hasn't got an armoured car and the other one has. That's, you know, that doesn't worry me at all. But other people, a bit more tournamenty, will say, but you have to balance it with this armoured car, the yin and the yang. You know, I think, well, all right, whatever. With the introductory sets, we also use it as a time to put new vehicles in, like the two armoured cars. We did the Daimler and the 222, I think, came out at the same time, to refresh the stuff. I don't mind mismatched things personally, but there's them that do. So you need the wisdom of Solomon on that one, or just tell them what to do.
It's definitely two schools of thought, isn't it? And what is a war game? Is it sort of like a game of chess where you've got some sort of equal or I don't say fair, but equal kind of competition, or is it actually a recreation of a scene and a narrative, and the two fight each other?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking philosophically, as I do. We played a Culloden game at my house on Thursday night in Epic. If you go next door, you see the Culloden in Epic. It's really good fun. And when we set them out, just as we're going to start the game, one of the players said, "Well, shall we play historically with the Scots further advanced here and then held back there?" And I said, well, how far do we want to go historically? If you're going to do that, the Scots are going to lose. You know, it's not going to give you any hope of winning if you go follow it slavishly, does it? You think, well, that's not going to work. So it's you're trying to reinvent something and have another outcome possible. You don't want to hobble people with imbalanced forces, but you want it to be a good game, don't you? Informed by history, is one of your phrases.
Yeah,
good game informed by history.
Yeah.
Because we all know that a rifle can shoot, you know, 1,300 yards, and it could do. You can't see anything at that range, so you have to make it 24 inches.
You have to actually design a war game to the tabletop, unless you're going to have a one-to-one scale battlefield, in which case.
Do you have a big tabletop at home?
Quite a large tabletop, John. It's very modest, but it's sort of bigger than yours, I think.
You haven't seen my new one.
Well, I do hope for your sake it's a little larger than your last one.
What else? We've got about another 15 minutes.
War.
Yes, we've got some Boer War models, which are very nice, and I wrote it 2 years ago. It just needs finishing off. What we need to do is play a couple of games, and what I want to do is put in this black powder supplement. It comes in at 1900, right on the cusp. But I want to put in bolt action rules as well, so you can do small patrols and that sort of stuff too. So you get a bargain. You get black powder and bolt action in one book. We're just deciding on what the cover's going to look like and which personalities are going in there. Because as you know, there was a meeting shop for all maniacs of the Empire were all there all at once. It's so it's on the schedule, yes, within a year, certainly.
Speaking of artwork, the Italian artist that was the box sets with all action, I forget his name. He's kind of taken on the baton from Peter Dennis.
Yeah, Peter Dennis is just.
Peter Dennis still doing work for you.
And well, he retired 10 years ago, didn't he? Only to carry on doing work for us.
Yeah.
But slowly, as he gets a bit older and his eyesight's not as good as it was, so he's been tutoring this Italian lad, so which has been very good, and you can tell that he is doing a different style, but certainly they do. And so it's difficult to better Peter Dennis. It really is. I just love his stuff. He normally includes himself on the cover as well, if he can. If you're allowed a beard, he's in there somewhere.
All artists do that. They can't help it.
But it was thought of doing an art book.
Nobody would buy it. Like, when me and Paul,
really good.
well, when Paul and I set up the company years ago, we had the Peter Dennis artwork of the Romans and the Celts. Really great piece of art. It's a big piece of art. We cut it in two to give us 2 box sets because we were mean and had no money. But the original piece of art is large and beautiful. And we printed off 120 high quality prints, and we sold 1 in 2 years.
I've got one.
You've got one. Probably that one. I can give away the rest. So nobody buys it, rotten lot. So let's put us off doing any more art ideas. Check that was a strange shirt. Yeah.
No. Are there any plans to reinvigorate Blood Red Skies, or because it feels like it's been wound down to the point where, like the last time I looked a couple of months ago, there weren't Spitfires on the website, and an English company not selling Spitfires kind of was like a sort of.
That's just not right, is it?
Yeah, there was something sort of in my soul that just went, that's off.
It's one of those games which needs revving up again and reworking over. We've learnt a lot about how to make planes in sidecast since when we first bought out the they were Dauntlesses in resin. I was looking at them and I think they looked more like Stukas because all the wings were sticking up like that because they weren't firming up with the machine before coming out. So we worked out how to make nice models in plastic, in this resin plastic. So that's good news. That was holding us back for a while because injection molding fighters cost so much money that we just couldn't. And there's a plethora of different aircraft, as we know, and so we'll definitely be redoing Blood Red Skies. It's great, and if we can, we'll do a World War I game as well. So, the back. Anybody? No. You again?
Can we expect civilian sprues for bolt action, for sort of using as scenario pieces?
No, it won't be in plastic. We just it wouldn't be popular enough. I don't think. We've done the plastic livestock, and that goes really well. We sell lots of those. The civilians, I think we'd do them in resin or metal. Is what I'd suggest. I think they'd be quite fun to do. You know, we do a few, but not very many.
Yeah, going on from we were just talking about the animals that you sell. You did really well with the ruined hamlet. Any more plans for any similar terrain pieces?
Yeah. I think probably in the tent there, and certainly in the studio, they've got the new terrain, isn't there? Really nice plastic terrain, and it works for either conflict or it'll work very well for Berlin or whatever, 47. So some nice pieces of brickwork, which
that was in the conflict table.
It's probably in there. So go and have a look. And then Skytrex have done an awful lot as well in MDF, and it looks great. You don't need many to make a really good looking table.
I was going to, funny enough, that's what I was as well, because I was wondering if you're going to do some kits. Like, round about the time you guys formed, do you remember Games Workshop were doing that, I think it was called Cities of Death or something, where you get little wall panels and you would stick them all together to make your own ruins and stuff like that. I was wondering if you'd ever consider doing something like that. It could be Stalingrad, Berlin, that
Well,
sort
it's
of
pretty
theme
much what
like
this
that.
is. Just going that way.
Oh, brilliant, okay. Yeah.
With Bolt Action, you've seen some products come out like Kelly's Heroes and Dad's Army. What plans would there be going forward with similar things like that, where you see things from classic World War II movies, or what would your own opinions be about that?
great question. as
Dad's
well.
Army was a license, wasn't
Dad's
it?
Army still is a license, yes.
Yeah.
Kelly's Heroes, I think we just did it, to be fair. Like I say, on tape. It was just a good gag which needed doing.
Is this not Kelly's Heroes?
It's a not Kelly's Heroes. Paul, God bless him, was desperate to have. We had the Allo Allo license,
Oh.
Yes.
and he was terribly keen on doing Yvette and everybody else, all the characters.
It sounds a bit like those 3D figures that you can get to cast, doesn't it? With yeah.
Well, so we have got a license for it, but we're all of a certain age now, and I don't know if anybody who watches Allo Allo apart from me.
I would pay £500 for a model of Vicky Michelle. So please.
I'll outbid you 1,000. So it could be quite fun to do Allo Allo. And somebody earlier on suggested I don't know, Hot Mum, that which might be entertaining, but I don't know. It's just maybe we might do the Allo Allo. That could be a good gag. That one. Perhaps I might do it next birthday. Splash release.
In the Epic Ancients, you thought about doing the Greeks versus the Persians?
That would be a classic combo, wouldn't it?
You would.
I don't know what plans you've got for the Epic Ancients. Seems to have.
Well, you've got to go stacked up. You know, I think that would be the one I'd do. Rather than anything else, I wouldn't do. I mean, you might do different Romans, but that's definitely the one I'd go for. Greeks and Persians.
Yeah.
If the next obvious one for me is what I'd do.
Going on from Greeks, it's not really known whether the Syracusans transferred from hoplite to the Theban model or Macedonian model. So what, assuming we're going to get Syracuse in the future to finish off the Punic War, what style of Greek warfare would be planned for that?
We haven't thought about it. Is the obvious answer. I'm not sure whether that's true. Talk about the Theban reforms, aren't you? And the
Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, there's no real sources of whether the Syracusans actually did it or not.
I've not found it. I'm not aware of any. So yeah, is that Iphicrates? That's sort of period. Yeah, sort of 4th century. BC.
The Roman sources don't mention it.
Yeah. Okay.
Or we could just make it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about making things up. When you talk to Peter Dennis, you get a beer in him. He'll tell you. I always say to him, Peter, how on earth how do you know all this stuff? And he would say, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you've done it. I said, you've done a great picture of a Greek byrene with the steering oar, guy on the steering oar, you know, and all that. I said, but I was reading that they don't know how they actually work. He says, well, I just make it up. Do you? He says, well, what else am I going to do? I said, yeah. But the problem is that people look at it and go, aha, that's how they constructed them, that's amazing. And they tell people at Warlord, you then make the models like that, the steering oar like this. And of course, Pete's just made it up. And of course, he has to do something, doesn't he? You know, and it's just, yeah, we have to be careful what we look at sometimes. Yeah.
Out of all the games that you've released, which ones do you like the best personally to play?
Do that one, Rick.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it tends to be the one I'm playing at the time. That's how it works. You kind of go through enthusiasms, don't you? You don't have a consistent one necessarily. I think the one I would always look forward to playing would be Black Powder. Hail Caesar I enjoy playing, but I always have to kind of almost go, oh, let me remind myself how this works, because there's so many subsets of rules to Hail Caesar depending on what period you play.
Right.
Whereas the Black Powder, we always play Napoleonic, so it's never an issue, and we always play vanilla. And these special rules and supplements nonsense, we don't do any of that. So I kind of like.
But you wouldn't advise us to not use the supplements, obviously.
I would recommend that you all purchase the
Yeah.
enjoy them,
I suspected.
and don't bother playing them.
Buy a copy for your mum.
I've got a few mum, they make
Yeah.
great Christmas presents.
Great hostess.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I think the game plays very well in its core form. And if you're consistently playing a period that's slightly extraordinary in some way, or towards the beginning or the end of that 1700 to 1900 period, yeah, you're going to have to incorporate some sort of modifications or ways of playing that are probably best dealt with in a supplement, like your ball supplement. That's right at the end, isn't it?
Yep, right at the end.
Yeah, and similarly, if you're going to do something for the Marlborough's rules, you might want to start to introduce some rules that constrict manoeuvre to some extent. But otherwise, yeah, no.
Black powder for me too.
Yeah,
Love it. Love the flavour. Rick's introductory page is I think it just thrills me every time I read it. The introductory page to black powder. It's great fun. It just sets out what it's all about. It's great. And having a beer or a cup of tea with your mates and agreeing where you disagree, you think, oh, if you think that's daft, then both change it. You know, Rick's not going to come around and tell you off. Or not yet.
No!
Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left, folks, and we're nearly there.
On the same subject then, how many miniatures do you actually both have painted?
We probably have been a pile of shame. Yeah.
And what's your favourite?
My number's a bit weird because I buy toy soldiers off the eBay, which are painted often, usually in the 1970s using oil. So the number of toy soldiers I've got is this. But then I strip them, so it goes like that. So the number of figures I've got that are painted
12.
12. I said last year my hobby had changed from being painting toy soldiers to unpainting toy soldiers.
It's a very broad church, isn't it? Scouring the internet for
mods I can unpaint.
Greenwood and Ball or Hinchcliffe 1967 is ours. Covered in thick Airfix paint, and covered even more so with yacht varnish. Even better.
My wife's complaining I now smell of Dettol. Dettol is fantastic.
I remember going to the Greenwood and Ball factory in Teesside when I was about 10.
Teesside, was it?
Yeah, somewhere up in Thornaby, I think it was.
Yeah.
My dad was working there, and I've seen it. It's okay, it's happening. I walked in, and these blokes looked at me and thought, is he one of those sad losers that buys these things that we make in these horrible hot things? You know what I mean? It's quite funny.
And were you?
Yes. Yeah, I bought some Persian Immortals off Massington, and I've still got them.
Are they painted?
Stemmy, yeah. If you want to strip them, you can do. I've got my humbrol on, you know.
All right, folks, we've got time for one more. There's 2 minutes left. Quick one then.
Don't know if you mentioned earlier, but I forgot. You know, it's about Romania and some of the other, like Balkans, the area, factories, the what action. Did you mention Bulgaria?
No. No mention of Bulgaria.
Was Bulgaria the one?
It was a womble. We won't be there for 5 years. Those trusty Bulgarians.
I was going to say, is there any part of your army that you've sold on that you then instantly regretted?
I've never sold on an army.
No.
I've given stuff away. I'm not allowed to regret that. Sometimes I've given things away and then forgotten I've given them away. And I'm looking for it.
Right, folks, we're going to throw out, and Alessio's going to come in, so they've got the rotten fruit ready for whoever's coming in next. So thanks very much indeed. It's really good to see you.